Your visit to Georgia coincides with a significant period in time. Today, the Georgian parliament ratifies the association agreement, which means that Georgia in fact embarks on the implementation of the agreement. Based on the Bulgarian experience, what difficulties do you think the European integration will be faced with?
Well, it's a very complex matter because it concerns all areas of the political and life of the country, all areas of like economy, reform of administration, judiciary, and everything. Actually, this is a great challenge for any country, and I'm sure that European Union, but also the EU member states bilaterally, as Bulgaria is planning to, will support Georgia with expert advices, with consultations, so that you can take into account our experience, both positive and negative. It's always good to avoid mistakes that others have already made. I, however, would like to underline that you should not be scared of this enormous challenge because it will bring a lot of positive changes in your country. And even if you feel at certain moments that it's too difficult, that it creates additional problems for business or economy or whatever, in reality, this will make the country a better place for the citizens and also will make your business more competitive and create much more opportunities for your economy. So it's a great moment today, the ratification of this agreement, and tomorrow already you need to start the implementation. You have our full support.
What kind of specific assistance can Bulgaria offer Georgia, and in what areas is there a real prospect of development of mutual cooperation, especially after the implementation of the DCFTA, which opens up new opportunities for Georgian businesses as well as the EU countries in Georgia?
Last year, your foreign minister visited Sofia. It was in November, and we signed an agreement with a concrete plan for consultations between the two ministries. We discussed today to start the implementation of this agreement already in the autumn, early autumn, so that we can organize a number of consultations in different areas. First of them on the European integration issues. I see these consultations to be held in Sofia in September as a good opportunity to identify all the needs that you have, or maybe shortages that you identified and where we can be of help. But I would say that, for example, one of the areas where we can be very helpful are the reforms in judiciary, for example. Not that we are already very successful in this, but we went through a very difficult process, and we can really help you to avoid mistakes that we have done. The same goes for the reforms in the area of which is covered by the Ministry of Home Affairs. There as well, we have undertaken a number of reforms, and for the moment we still cooperate very closely with the European Commission on those issues, so we can also be very helpful. And I would say also the implementation of this agreement in its economic part is also a big challenge, which covers different administrations, different areas, being it customs or statistics or tax administration. So all this is quite complex, and there we have really good experts that can be of help. But I would say we can do that on all other areas which you can identify, as we have done, by the way, before. We have implemented some projects in the past which were very successful, and we can build also on this experience to do our best to make Georgia succeed in this journey that is starting now.
Bulgaria actively supports Georgia's Euro-Atlantic aspirations. How would you assess NATO's decision to grant Georgia a new package, and would you say it adequately reflects the achievements of Georgia on its path towards NATO integration?
We appreciate the efforts that Georgia made so far in developing its cooperation with NATO, the participation in different military operations, exercises. Georgia is a very committed aspirant to join NATO. At the same time, we have to take into account also the realities, also the situation within NATO, as well the fact that there is some hesitation of some countries to invite at this stage new members in the alliance. So the decision was to offer Georgia a package, a substantial package, which would cover different areas and will bring closer Georgia to NATO. I believe that this is a good solution. This will create additional guarantees for the security of Georgia. This will bring Georgia closer to NATO, and the progress that will be made in implementing this package will be seriously taken into account for the steps to come. Georgia was granted a promise, or a commitment was made to Georgia to join NATO. It happened in 2008. This commitment was reconfirmed. I'm sure it will be reconfirmed also at the summit this September. It only takes certain time and efforts, but I believe that NATO is taking absolutely seriously Georgia as a strong ally, and this in itself is creating strong guarantees for the security of Georgia.
Could you tell us a few words about the situation around the South Stream project? What is Bulgaria's position regarding the economic as well as political importance of this project, as it has already caused considerable controversy?
It's true that the implementation of this project has created certain controversies, but I can only reconfirm that for Bulgaria, for Southeastern Europe and for Southern Europe, this project is important. This project will strengthen our energy security, will make much more secure the energy supplies, the gas supplies, and because of that we will do all necessary efforts to continue with the implementation and the building of this project. All countries, by the way, there are a number of other EU member states that are part of this project, which continue to support its implementation. At the same time, we made clear that this is a European project, and it should correspond or be in conformity with the European rules. From that point of view, as long as there are doubts on that, we will continue our discussion and consultations with the European Commission on that issue. We have already supplied extensive set of arguments and documents with regard to the concerns of the European Commission, and we encourage also the Russian side, and especially Gazprom, to step up its efforts to find a mutual acceptable solution with the European Commission on that issue. I would like to underline that Bulgaria suffered already cold winter in 2009 when the gas supplies to our country were blocked over the controversies between Ukraine and Russia at that time. And taking into account this experience, we would like to do our best to avoid such situation in the future. At the same time, we take additional and important efforts to achieve diversification not only of the routes but also of the sources of gas supply. We build interconnectors with the neighboring countries. We negotiate with other players to bring additional quantities through these interconnectors to the country, especially in difficult periods. So it's a complex effort, and South Stream is only one part of it.